Hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges, the daily show that equips leaders and entrepreneurs to achieve their greatest potential. This show is sponsored by Current Leadership Coaching, and they help entrepreneurs excel as leaders so they can create super teams. Find out more about them at currentleadershipcoaching.com. Hey, I hope you're doing awesome today, and I hope you're ready to talk more about change. Because today, I want to pick up with yesterday's challenge, and that was to think about a successful change that you have recently experienced and possibly a not so successful change that you've had to go through recently. And then to identify what made the change either a success or a failure. So I mentioned yesterday at the end of the show that most change that is unsuccessful just isn't properly explained, or people didn't embrace the change because they just didn't know enough about the change. And of course, sometimes it's unsuccessful because the leader just didn't support the change and or they have a negative attitude about the change altogether. So today, I want to dive into how you can help your entire team embrace change, even when it seems like change is happening every day, even with our most routine activities. Now, before I press on, I want to read to you one of my favorite John C. Maxwell quotes, and it is, "Everything rises and falls on leadership." Man, this quote is so true when it comes to leadership, and you guessed it, this quote applies to change as well. Successful and unsuccessful change all begins with the leader of the team or company. Whenever you have any kind of change that occurs, your team members will automatically look at you, the leader, to see how you're responding to the change. If they see that you're calm, man, they're going to have a tendency to remain calm as well and work through the change. And the opposite is true as well. If change is starting to happen and you're just freaking out, well, guess what? Your people are probably going to begin to freak out as well. When change is not successful, it creates a division within your team because you're going to have some team members going along with the change and accepting it and doing the change properly, and others just totally against the change. And of course, you're going to have a group that's kind of somewhere in the middle, and they're in the middle just trying to make peace with everyone while they weigh all the pros and cons and decide which way they're going to go. This is when leaders must have the skills to lead a team that will embrace the change. Now, I've come up with 3 primary action steps, and there's probably a ton more, but these 3 primary action steps will enable you to help your team members embrace change. First, you must be willing to change at a moment's notice as change arises. And your attitude must be positive when it comes to change, especially the change that you have no say in, such as changes that come from the law or from leaders above you. Now, I know this is difficult for a large majority of people, including leaders, but just keep in mind that being willing and having a positive attitude doesn't necessarily mean that you agree or like the change. It's just that you're doing your job as a leader and you're leading your people through this change. The second action step is to keep your team informed as much as possible about upcoming changes. Now is not the time to hide anything about changes that will impact any of your team members. Transparency is extremely important now, and the more that you tell them about possible changes that are coming, the more it will become a part of their norm and they can learn to accept it. Finally, the third action step is to involve your team members as much as possible with any changes. When they see the behind the scenes of change and everything that is involved in the change process, they'll begin to see and embrace the changes as something that's necessary. If you are uncertain of what changes are coming, yet know that change is inevitable, don't keep your people in the dark. Talk to them, encourage them to think with an entrepreneurial mindset, and also about how they can do every part of their job or process differently in order to stay competitive and successful. Encourage a learning environment like never before, so that everyone will become interested in not only their job, but the entire process. which includes change. All growth is going to require change. And to succeed in today's world, man, we have got to have a team that embraces change. I'm convinced that if you take these 3 action steps, your team will undoubtedly begin to embrace change like never before. Hey, I want to remind you about a brand new membership site that Current Leadership Coaching will be launching on October 1st. That'll be a community of entrepreneurs and leaders that want to excel as leaders so they can create and continue to lead super teams. This membership group will include 2 monthly leadership lessons, live calls for Q&A, live calls for mentoring and coaching, and an online membership site where you're going to be able to connect with a bunch of like-minded leaders. If you're interested in becoming a founding member, please email me at Paul, that's Paul, at clcteam.com for more information and to get on our wait list. As founding members, you'll be able to join at the absolute lowest price possible. And I mean like less than $20 a month. Again, if you're interested, please email me at Paul, that's Paul, at clcteam.com. As always, we greatly appreciate you for listening. Have a great rest of your day, and until tomorrow, run to your challenges.